I think, see, Rene has always been a very innovative kind of a brand, which is always been very bold about its products. It's always experimental. That's the core of our sort of, I would say, belief, where you have to take chances and you have to take those steps which your sort of competition or the market in general does not take. And I think people who fit that kind of sort of description, we really love to partner with. So Ori is actually one of them, right? Very
Yeah.
bold, very out there, very upfront, also very likable personality, right, per se.
Mm-hmm.
And while we also follow this journey of trying to get the Gen Z consumers' attention, I think he's our perfect go-to guy to get that for us, right? So I think Ori and Rene is more like a match, made in heaven to do such kind of a campaign, which is like a very short form, very funky, very today, kind of content piece. I think, see, there are actually multiple factors to see the success. One is, of course, the eyeballs that it gets, right? Second is when you attach a brand with a face or a name, right?
Mm-hmm.
How aspirational is that name is how your brand will seem, right? And Ori, because he hangs out with the best of Bollywood, right? He's right up there when it comes to the top of the mind of people, right? And that's where sort of Rene wants to be. It's a highly aspirational, very instant gratifying kind of a brand, right? See, we are not a problem solution brand.
Right.
We give instant gratification. We add beauty to people who really love makeup, right? And that's what this does to us. And so if we are able to reach those eyeballs, while those eyeballs may be limited, but they are the targeted ones. So yeah, so if we are able to get enough likes, enough mentions, enough shares, enough views, I think that would be the kind of success for us. No, not really. Actually, we have always been a creator-led brand, right? We have always been digital first. So
Mm-hmm.
almost 90% of our expense that we used to do, right, since day one has always been on digital first platforms, including the influencer-led outcomes, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we don't necessarily always gauge an ROI led driven activity. We always see how the branding is done. Now, to see it may not always be quantifiable of how well that campaign went, but we always see that it all sums up, right? So at the end of the year, you see how many campaigns went, and then we talk to people. How many campaigns do they remember? How many do they talk about, right? And this sums up sort of year on year. And when this sort of gathers as a whole sort of content piece that brand is put out, so that's the differentiator between a product company and a brand. A
Right.
brand really focuses on where it wants to be placed, how it
Mm-hmm.
wants to be seen, who are the people it really wants to associate with, versus a product company that just is speaking about the product and they always think about selling the product, right? That is where you really start quantifying things. Here, what we do is we are okay. Not everything has to be quantifiable. It's okay if some content we just throw it out there in the ocean, right? And it will come back, right? That's how we look at some of these pieces. Today, I think one of our highest selling is Midnight Kajal,
Yes.
right? Rene Midnight Kajal has been a top seller for the last year, and I think that still drives the top charts on Rene.
Mm-hmm.
I think apart from that, we have a primer called Bollywood Filter. Bollywood Filter primer is one of our top sellers. We still have Madness, PH lipstick, which is our top seller. We have something called HD Pro 3-in-1 makeup, compact, which is
Mm-hmm.
like a compact contour and sort of foundation in one. So
Mm-hmm.
that was also one of a kind, one of its product, which was like all three combined in one, which was never existed before in India at least, right? So these innovations are still the top drivers for us. I think, see, number one is value for money.
Mm-hmm.
Number two is more value for the same money,
Mm-hmm.
right? So how can we give more in what people are already spending, right?
Mm-hmm.
And even if we charge premium, can we give them something extra which they don't have an option for today?
Mm-hmm.
If we are able to, fulfill these two demands, I think we become unstoppable, and hence we are now today probably the number one new age brand into the color cosmetics segment. I think 18 to 35 is our primary market. Within
Mm-hmm.
that, 24 to 35 is our sort of leading market. Women, of course. Women tier one. So I think for us, what has happened is, see, makeup is now growing 19% year on year, versus
Mm-hmm.
skincare and beauty is growing 12% and hair is growing at 9% year on year, right?
Yeah.
So the acceptability and the use case is increasing tier one, two, three, four throughout the channel, right? While we are targeting tier one and two, we see that almost 40% of our sales are coming from tier three and four consumers also, right?
Okay.
So now the benchmark is removed that okay, only tier one audience from a tier three city is buying. That's not true. People are
Mm-hmm.
saving money and then buying the product, but they are definitely looking for a better brand with a better quality offering, right? And
Right.
RENÉE really fits that label. We actually have done it in the past. So we have been doing TV for almost now 2 years. So ATL,
Mm-hmm.
BTL, we have been doing. And it has been really working well for us. So I think Midnight was our first campaign on TV last year with Brunal Thakur, which did really well.
Mm-hmm.
She was the face then,
Yes.
so we used her. But I think and there was it was received really well. So hence
Mm-hmm.
we also sort of expanded into tier three, four. In fact, our offline presence in tier three, four is also there. So we are now in 270 cities plus across India. And about 30-40% of those are beyond tier two. I think between the two, it's a 50-50 mix where 50% we try to sort of get ROI, get sales, get that use case in. But
Mm-hmm.
but the other 50% is about the brand, getting brand eyeballs, creating that top of the funnel, being in top of the mind. I think that's the
Mm-hmm.
focus, right? 50%, right? 50% is performance
50%.
reviews and advertisement, yes.
50% advertisement. Okay. And year on year, are you planning on increasing that? And what kind of ROI are you seeing?
No, I think we would like to sort of strike this balance and maintain it for some time because
Mm-hmm.
we feel that we have enough incoming and enough brand searches that have been created because of the branding, and hence we are able
Yeah.
to convert them better. So we don't really see CAC because we are an omni-channel play. What we
Mm-hmm.
see is the percentage of A&P spends per year.
Right.
So first year our A&P spend was 75%. This year is going to be under 50%, right? So we have already raised, percentage wise, we've already taken it down by almost 50%. So from 75
Mm-hmm.
to 50 is almost like 25% off, right? So that's
Right.
50% reduction in our sort of percentage of spend. While the
Okay.
brand has grown almost 5 times since then, right? So no, I think see AI is definitely going to change things,
Mm-hmm.
but we feel that it is going to be a complementary change towards what is already happening, right?
Right.
So AI may make content which we anyways create, right? AI will help influencers to create better content, while there will be AI creators being created as well.
Mm-hmm.
We feel that AI as tooling system will make our entire life easier when it comes to sort of outcome of events, what is happening, quantification,
Mm-hmm.
and and AI would be the keyword, of course, but how we use it will depend on sort of person to person because AI trials will help uh, uh, consumers to see how the product fits on their skin tone, right? So
Mm-hmm.
how red color would look on your skin because today they're only filters,
Mm-hmm.
which will only do so much justice, right? It will not go 100%. AI is also not there today, but I think in the next 3 to 5 years, I think it will be there where you will be able to see exactly how it will look on your face, and that will help us give a first trial online instead of offline. See, RENÉE is a beauty brand, right? So it's a color
Right.
cosmetics first brand, but we can always, sort of not really. I think we can increase into skin. We can hair color will also fall into some sort of hair color cosmetics, I would say. So hair color would be, but there are other white spaces, right? We also see some of grooming and electronics for women being one of those wider spaces that we can
Mm-hmm.
definitely look into because we feel there is a clear gap, right? No brand is
Mm-hmm.
doing justice. People don't want to give quality because price is a problem. People give higher prices, then the volume is a problem. So we can find a solution around that as well. So we are looking at hair colors, we are looking
Mm-hmm.
at extension to skin, we are looking at extension into face and body grooming, while that
Mm-hmm.
is also sort of supplementative to beauty and skincare as well, right? So, and we're also looking at sort of, I would say this is all about outer beauty. We're also looking at inner beauty as well. So something
Mm-hmm.
that you can ingest, so something like supplements that can bring out your
Mm-hmm.
inner beauty as well. So I think it's expandable to multiple categories, right? Right, and it's like an ocean. People will accept it if it's a good product, well
Mm-hmm.
priced, has some innovation, and is very efficacious, so it does what it says.